Welcome to Whiskey Gaming, and this is my late review of 9 Years of Shadows. I played it on the PC via Steam. It's also apparently available on the Nintendo Switch. You play as Europa. You are on a quest to save the world. You go to a large tower that is on the back of a giant mechanical giant, because the corruption is leaking forth from this place and it has drained the color from the world. Everything is in shadow, the corruption is killing people, and you and this little ghost teddy bear are the ones who must save the world. So let's get into the audio, and the first thing I'm going to say is I love the soundtrack of this game. I think it's very well done. I love the music for the different areas. I just thought it was a really excellent soundtrack. As for the sound effects, I think those are also very well done for the enemy attacks, your attacks, just all the different sound effects. I think they work very well in this world and in this style. If there's any voiceover work, I didn't ever hear it, so nothing to say there. Let's get into the gameplay mechanics and whatnot, and this is very much a Metroidvania style game. You have the castle to explore. I do love that they give you a good map to use, that's always important. But like any good Metroidvania game, you find, in this case, armors that will give you new attacks as well as new abilities to explore so that you can backtrack and find new stuff. And at first I was going to say that I found this game to be really easy, but the later I got into the game, the more and more challenging it became, and I do appreciate that, although I did feel like some of the bosses were a little bullshit. More of a challenge due to random mechanics than like high quality, boss development, but that's me personally. As for the enemies, I think they're pretty cool and well designed. There are a couple that I didn't necessarily love, but you are provided with a lot of good tools to combat them, so I think it balances out for the most part. There are no RPG elements in this one. You don't level yourself up by killing enemies. You level yourself up by gaining items and, providing them to certain NPCs. And it's not even really leveling them up, it's enhancing your armor or enhancing your health bar, but it's not a traditional leveling system. Now let's get into the controls, and overall I like the controls. I do wish they did something a little different for switching between the armors. There were a few boss fights where it would have been nice to not have to rotate through the armors. I mean, you can rotate, basically back and forth, but either way you're still rotating through them rather than, just tapping a button to select an armor. But otherwise, I found the controls to be very responsive. I think the aiming, as it were, and the movement all work very well. And then last but not least, the graphics and visuals. And the first thing I'm going to say is I am going to bitch and moan a little bit because I'm not one of those people who's fully in love with the pixel art style. But I do think that they kind of hit a nice balance where things aren't overly pixelated and you can still see some really cool detail in the world despite at the same time it being pixel art. Visually speaking, I really love the design of basically everything in this game, from the bosses to Europa to the other NPCs you run into. I think they're all very well done. They helped breathe life into this unique world, and I just thought that was a really cool idea. The one thing I will complain about visually is basically it starts out all black and white and then the color explodes into the world and it's just everywhere. It's not like you're unlocking color throughout the world, which I think could have been an interesting gameplay / story mechanic, but at the same time it kind of would have felt like a waste because the design of the world deserves the color that's there. So not exploring this castle in color would have been disappointing at the same time. So it's a weird balance there. But I think your character's different armor sets, I think the effects that they have, the changes to your character's attacks, small details like that are actually really cool. Overall, I actually really loved the visual style of this game, despite my general distaste for pixel art style games. Which, yes, I know I end up stumbling into quite a few of them. I did run into some frame rate issues. It was kind of weird because it was only this one time. The rest of the game ran very smoothly. So let's get into the wrap-up, and I gotta say, for the price and the content, I think it's fully worth it. I don't have any complaints recommending this if you're looking for a good Metroidvania style game. Okay, so in the comments down below, why don't you tell me what's a game you wish had like a Metroidvania spin-off? And as always, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please hit that like button, and if you like what I'm doing in general, share and subscribe. Have a good one.